Today, I made some printouts of, some of the tables. We got Luton down in 22nd. Are they in 22nd, the relegation zone? Luton are all the way down there. Can't even find Derby. Where are Man United? They're in 14th. Sheffield United, they're not in the Premier League anymore. All these teams all the way down. And Forest are climbing back all the way up in 7th. And you know what? We're going to beat West Ham this weekend as well. Intro that, Matt. Intro that.
Who we got from around the world? Have we got anyone from around the world this week?
We do indeed. We've got Jonathan Cook. So Jonathan was one of the gentlemen who actually saw us at the Chelsea game. Believe it or believe it not, he saw us at the Chelsea game when we were both there. And he said, top time down south. Just caught up in the last podcast. Love it. Cheers for the shout out. He says something about Leicester. And then he says, he went to the Leicester game, and then he's in Tenerife, so he's actually all around the world. One of the gentlemen who said hi to you, and you said hi to him, and we both said hi to each other, is in Tenerife right now, so big shout out to him. Or he was in Tenerife, yeah. Sorry. He's probably back now. He's been back. He's been at the Leicester game.
Cool. You got to keep this bit moving. Keep this moving.
I'm trying. Stop talking. Sarah's daughter, Scarlett, absolute legend, has a picture of her standing on a wall with her Forest jersey on in Montenegro. I was actually in Montenegro 2 months ago, so there you go. Snap. That's Scarlett. Give a shout out to her.
Scarlett.
Okay, you always do
Keep
that.
Keep it moving.
One name.
I love the guest. I love the guest. You got to push us through this intro, Chris. Push us through.
Okay. Last Forest all over the world is AFW, whose son is keeping the football practice in Central Park. And there's a picture of his son playing football in Central Park. So there's 3 great ones for you. Tenerife, Montenegro, Central Park, Chris, Matt, West Ham, 7th. Everyone else is below us. Life is great. Bye-bye, Leicester. Singing songs about Steve Cooper. Slightly ironically, slightly kindly, slightly funny. Get out, and get on up. Hit it, Matt.
So, pre-West Ham.
Ooh.
Here we go again. It's just phenomenal, isn't it? I have to say at the beginning of this episode that the Warriors football team that got to go at the open training day and meet the players and Nuno Espirito Santo was just brilliant. It was a reminder of what football was actually all about, isn't it?
It was class. Yeah, it was absolute class. And I think that's kind of the moments where, me and you do all these podcasts and we watch football and we see the players and we're starstruck by the managers and the big money and all the stuff that goes into football. And you see that and you go, yeah, it's the cliche that's massively true. That is what it's all about. It just made me smile from ear to ear watching
that. It's the B story. We get pinned around these narratives from week to week by the players, the teams we support and all these things. But what it's really about, the heart and soul of football in general, not just Warriors or just Forest, is just the people that get involved. And it was a really great bit of class from the club. I'm sure lots of clubs do it. I'm sure Forest have done it before without putting it on social media. But it's nice to see is the point. It's nice, positive things to see. And I'm really happy for everyone that got to see the open training session. What an exciting thing to be able to do.
Yeah, brilliant. It was brilliant. And we didn't see Morgan Gibbs-White there at the open training session, did we? So that's a little bit worrying. He's probably going to be missing this weekend. Are you concerned about that? Are you completely free
I'm not.
and easy?
No, I think that Anderson's doing a great job. I think that Dominguez has pulled his socks up. He didn't even have the chance to pull his socks up, I guess. It's because the last game he played was on the wing in that 4-4-2 against Fulham, so it feels like he's a problem. But I think we're all right until Gibbs-White's back. Rothman and Cotton will get him back, and we've got extra players.
Yeah, no, I think you're right as well. I think it might be good just to not have to rush Morgan back for a change. We've rushed him back in the past when he had a couple of injuries.
But it's really important that we don't just rely on him.
Yeah, that's true too. It is important we don't just rely on him, and we've won both the games without him. And obviously, I think he goes straight back in the lineup. By the way, but we'll discuss that a little bit later. I think he goes straight back.
It's really good for him as a player, I think, mentally to go to feel like he's not a sure bet for the starting 11. It's just good for any young man's personal development in life to. Not that he is we don't know that he's not a brilliantly honourable, down to earth, lovely guy, but everyone needs bringing everyone needs humbling from time to time. Again, I repeat, I don't know that he needs it, but it's not going to do any harm.
Well, it's competition as well, Matt. So he's going to love, and he thrives in those situations. All he ever wanted to do, Morgan Gibbs White, was play for England in and amongst what is a world-class midfield, with Bellingham and Foden and Grealish and all that. So he loves that and thrives on that. So, yeah, I think it's really good for him. And I think it's great to have Anderson get a chance to showcase some of his ability the last two games, Palace and Leicester games. Because he did. I mean, obviously, first half against Leicester, I don't think he was great. He lost the ball a couple of times, but, second half, he stepped it up, and Forest really ramped it up that second half. I was actually over in Barcelona watching that game in an Irish pub. We were doing loads of lovely riacas and wines and Spanish foods, and then I have to bring my missus to an Irish pub to say, hey, listen, we're watching the Forest game. The Irish pubs is the only place I know in a different country. They'll have all the TVs. They'll have it on. And to be fair, they had it in this Irish pub called Dunn's on this massive big screen at the front. And this Spanish game, there was about 15, 20 people at the back watching the Spanish football match. But they had the Forest game on for me. Well, it wasn't for me, but it was for one other bloke and his family who just asked for it. And I'm just sat there going, this is unbelievable. And of course, as soon as I walked in, I actually had missed the 8th goal. As soon as I walked in, Vardy scores. And I'm thinking, am I bad luck? And then obviously second half, Forest ramped it up. And it's just so great to see us win on a Monday, then immediately on Friday, go to Leicester and completely put them to bed, by the way. Like, that wasn't even... You watched the game, right? Did you watch it live at the time? Or did you see it later? Did you watch it after the fact?
Yeah, I watched it live. Do you think we can get 3 in a row?
Yeah. I don't even... Like, West Ham, for me, aren't playing particularly well. Like, they played poor against Man United at the weekend, even though they beat them. And it was a late penalty that some people say should have been. I don't know. But, like, yeah, of course we can. We can beat West Ham. All I know is we can beat West Ham. If we beat West Ham, it's 3 in a row. And yeah, I actually we've beaten West Ham the last 2 times I've been at the City Ground. Last year to stop one of our terrible runs without a win, 1-2-0. And the first ever win we had in the Premier League in 23 years, 1-0. So I know I always look back on games that don't really make a difference because I'm looking back at past year, 2 years. But for me, they struggle against us just like Palace do. And yeah, I think we can beat them. And they're in a really poor run of form, actually. And they've been playing some really bad football. And I know they beat Man United recently, but I don't think that lifts their curse necessarily. I like the fact they beat Man U. So yeah, do you think we can beat them?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I feel like it's not even a bold thing to say. I guess the fact that we've had this, what feels like a massive turnaround in form pretty quickly. I know in the real world of it, it's probably been a long time coming. It's not overnight. You know, that famous thing about people asking Jim Carrey right when he broke onto the scene in America back in the 90s, oh, what's it like to have overnight success? And he goes, with 15 years of grafting around is overnight success, then do you know what I mean? And the point is I bet we're going, well, I'm saying, gosh, this is suddenly a new weird positive thing that I don't quite trust being a Forest fan, but actually maybe it's been a long time coming. I've said that in talk conversation with this guy who was a semi-pro and knows his football certainly more than me, most certainly more than you. And
why most certainly more than me? Most certainly more than you, and just certainly more than me. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. But he was just I was sort of going, yeah, I don't know how long this can last. Don't know how long this can last. He's convinced something remarkable has happened. Because, I mean, everyone's talking about the Milenkovic signing. He's convinced that we're too good defensively to be anything but top 10.
Well, I think like, wow. even that is wow. But even someone like you, who is consistently pessimistic or consistently finding weird, paranoid kind of ways of bringing us back down to earth, even with you actually predicted we'd beat Leicester. I predicted 3-1, by the way. Exact goal scores. I predicted Wood would score 2. I predicted we win 3-1. I predicted we'd be singing that Steve Cooper song at the back end of the game to make it more toxic for Leicester. I actually
you're so chuffed with yourself when you get the odd score prediction right. You remember you didn't think Cooper could get us promoted. You didn't think Cooper could get us promoted. And everyone listening, Chris, I have this on podcast recording.
Absolute disgraceful thing to say.
Season.
Sorry.
He was saying we're in a relegation battle. Sorry. We're all saying we could get into the playoffs.
Hang on a second. I didn't think Cooper could get us promoted at what point in the season, because I started to believe in the playoffs, and we did a pathway to playoffs episode at the end of January, early February with Will. You weren't there. I was just about to say
March. You were still saying it was relegation battle. February, March.
No,
still
not by March. No, because we did a pathway to the playoffs. That's a ridiculous thing to say. The moment we beat Millwall, which was maybe January, I started to believe we could make the playoffs.
Maybe February. I was talking about
no, because we beat Millwall in January. It was the moment we beat. I'm actually not. I can't believe we're having an argument about you making crap up.
You're ruining everyone's fun when Forest win and you get it right. It's the way you're such a poor winner.
Admit that.
You're quite a fun
Just say
loser.
that's the reason why you're angry. Just don't make up stuff about what you think I thought 3 years ago when it's an absolute lie. You can go back to the episodes, by the way, folks. You can go back to the episodes if you want, and you can go back and listen to when I started to turn around and change my mind, because we were originally bottom of the league, as you remember. And I think a lot of us thought the same thing, much like Matt here, who actually changes his mind like the wind. But yeah, anyway, let's get back to the point. You hate the fact that I get things right, and that's fine. But I did. I predicted 3-1. I hate draw with Brighton 2-2.
I hate the way you throw your weight around with it. That's not public, so let's just move on, because they'll learn. Some people do know and understand, and they and everyone else will follow suit in time.
You're so smug, and if you ever listen to yourself back, you'll hear the smugness just breathe fire out of your mouth like a dragon. It's disgusting. But it's just even the laugh. Where were we before we got off track? We're back to actually being happy about Forest being in 7th. Like, aren't we? Isn't that where
you were talking about me predicting that Leicester would win was a surprise because I'm normally so negative.
Yeah. Of course. It was a surprise because you're normally so negative, yeah. We're positive when things are really bad, but you're negative when things are really good. You're like the seesaw flip-flop.
I'm a bit sad we can't play the blame game, really.
There you go. You can't help yourself. You enjoy the negativity. You bask in it. And then you look for the positive. Back in the Chris Hughton era, you were all smiles and sunshine and rainbows.
Let's talk. What do you talk about other than the fact that you're happy that Forest are doing well?
Okay, well, we talk about big dreams then. We start talking about
Europe. Do it.
We start talking about top 10. We start talking about.
Do you think we can get Europe this year? Do you think we can get Europe this year? Let's take us back to that playoff conversation we just had. Can Forest get into Europa qualifying or Europa Conference qualifying this season?
So, okay, the reason why we had that, just a side note, we actually did have that playoff conversation. It was around November, that time, 21-22 season. And that's when I was saying, no, it's ridiculous. And obviously it wasn't, because we did it. We went all the way. We're now November again, and there's a different conversation happening. And you're asking me straight from your horse's mouth, can Forest make the top 7 or 8? Is it top 7 or 8? Which is it?
I think officially
we don't even know.
5. What?
We don't even know. I know Champions League is top 4 potentially.
Well, no, we know. We know.
We don't know. You don't know.
Chris, we know, but it depends on how other things, other results fold out. I mean, there's a chance that only the top 5 or top 6 can get conference. If the Champions League don't extend to the Premier League a 5th spot, so therefore it stays as 4, and therefore the 5th is Europa, and someone hasn't won an FA Cup or the league or the Champions League or something, then it whittles down, doesn't it? So I'm going to say
5th might not be Europa. 5th
I'm going to say by some man, I don't think we'll get 6th or 7th, but I think 8th gets conference, and I think Forest could get it.
Okay, so you answered the question now. Do you believe we will, or do you believe we can? Where's the difference there between believe we can and will?
I actually don't think we'll. Do I want to be that pessimistic? All it takes is for Milenkovic or Murillo to go down, or for the turn in form to Kunin. I'm going to say we can't, but I do think we'll finish in the top 10.
To be honest, to finish in the top 10 this season would be pretty monumental. I know Leeds finished 9th their first season back up, and I remember looking at that. I have a lot of Leeds fan mates, Irish Leeds fan mates, and I remember looking at it going, oh gosh, I can't believe they've just done that. I was in awe of how calm they were about it. I was like, I would never stop talking about finishing in the top 10 ever. You would never hear the end of it. I know I didn't support Forest till after the season that they finished. I think it was 8th. They finished 3rd one season, and it might have been 8th the following season. I didn't see that. My first season supporting Forest, we got relegated. So for me, if we finished in the top 10, it would be just monumental celebrations for a long, long time. Do I think we can do it? Yeah, definitely. Do I think we will? I need to see a couple more games. What do you mean? What does that mean? I'm saying can and will. And I asked you the same questions.
I'm saying that we can't and we won't.
You're saying you said we can, but we won't. You said we can, but we won't.
No, I didn't. Did I?
Yep. Rewind the tape.
I definitely take it back if I did. I'm not convinced I did, and I look forward to listening to this back. Maybe I'll be embarrassed, but I don't think we can, and I don't think we will. I just think we'll make it. No, I said I don't think we will, but we'll make the top 10. Is what I said. You're going. I think we can, but I don't think we will, and it's like, oh, that's not an answer. That's just.
Well, I think you can, and I think you will be embarrassed when you listen back to your smugness on this episode. But what I do think is, I don't know. Like, what would a manager say if we were asking Nuno now? If I was Nuno, I'm not going to.
I think Nuno will. Well, they talk about going game by game, don't they?
Well, you just be a press guy and try and dig at me and get the question out of me, and I'll be Nuno and try and manage it as Chris and Nuno. Okay, go.
Hello, Nuno. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you very much. Yeah, doing good.
There's always some rubbish joke, isn't there, about the microphones or the chairs or something that Nuno has to pretend to find funny.
Yeah.
Sorry, let's assume that's happened. And then
let's assume it's happened. Go. I'm the manager of Nottingham Forest. Ask me the question. I don't even need to be Nuno. I'm just the manager of Nottingham Forest. How would you ask if we were in 7th?
Cool. What has the recent form given you any? Has it reset the targets from the club this year? And if so, what are they? Do you think Europe could be one of them?
I'm going to face the camera for this. I do think Europe could be one of them. Of course, we've many targets that we have to hit along the way. We've started well, and Europe most definitely could be one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you think it will be? Is that now the aim?
Is what the aim is? Europe the aim? We've many aims. There's a few aims this season.
Yeah, but is Europe one of them? Is qualifying for Europe one of your aims?
I mean, we've got many aims. It will be one of them, of course. Yeah, it will be one of the aims.
Sorry to interrupt you there. Sorry to interrupt you. Please answer the question without repeating a question I've already clearly made clear. I don't want you to answer it like. I want to know, is qualifying for Europe this year one of your aims now that you're doing so well in the first 10 games of the season?
Sorry, is it just Michael at the back there, press officer? Is this guy new? What's going on with him? He's been asking very aggressive questions. I actually don't think I've heard him before. I know he's trying to come up in the world of journalism and trying to push hard early on, but can you just tell me, is he new or has he been here a while? Michael?
He's been around the block, mate. He's been around the block. Just answer the question. Okay. We need him. We need him.
We need him? Okay, he's one of them. Right, he's a slimy one. Right, I've got it. Hey, how are you doing? Sorry, Dave, back to you there in the corner. The question you asked me to answer was, can we or will we? I can't remember which way you put it initially. Can we or will we make Europe? What are my aims?
I'm asking you if it's your aim to take Nottingham Forest into Europe.
Well, my aim is to take any team into Europe like I did with Wolves a couple of times. So
great. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
the
an
answer is yes.
Prospect.
Sorry, the answer was yes when you first asked it, but there's other aims as well. One of the aims would be to survive.
Chris, I'm going to cut for once. I want to cut this for once because, of course, Nuno's aim is to always get a football team as high to the highest position possible, and that kind of theoretically means to the top of the league, right?
But here, hang on a second. I suppose we will cut the improv, right? And it doesn't. My point is, I asked you, can we, in your opinion, and will we, in your opinion? They are two different questions. You answered the questions. Then you asked me the same question, can we or will we? I answered with can we, and then I went to will we, and you went, what does that mean?
Oh, God.
It's like me saying, do you want ice cream? And you saying yes, and then me going, do you want ice cream and chocolate? And you going, maybe both. And then you asking me the same question, and you going, where's the ice cream? Where's the chocolate? Why are you even talking about it? Like, I don't know how to get you on the same page as me. It's annoying, but just ask me the question again. In fact, go ahead and ask me the question one way, and I'll give you one way answer about Forest right now. Ask me if we're going to win at the weekend. Yes. Ask me if we're going to beat Newcastle. Yes. Ask me if we're going to get something from Arsenal. Yes. And then speed it all the way past Christmas and ask me if we can make the top 10. We will make the top 10. Now ask me if we can make Europe. Shoot.
Can we make Europe?
You're goddamn right we can.
Chris, I hope you're right. If you're right, I will.
I'm always right. I didn't say we would. I said we can.
Oh God, no! That I'm taking that as we would, because
can't take it. Take it whatever way you want it.
We can fold. We can win the league. We can. I don't know, Chris. You know what I'm saying. Come on, what we got to worry about? We've got to face Antonio again. It was interesting. There was talk or whispers, I think, in and amongst the summer transfer stuff of Antonio coming back to Forest. And we were all a bit like, really? Can't we do better than that? But actually, knowing that he might be playing for West Ham on Saturday, I find quite a nervy prospect. Him and Bowen. Have they got Somerville, who's firing now? They're going to be a really tricky customer. And we shouldn't be too confident about this. I think that Forest can win because of our form and the high positive attitude. I think City Ground's going to be going for it. But, you just know that the... What do you think? If anyone's going to score against us, it's going to be Bowen, Somerville, Antonio, isn't it?
Shut up. What is wrong with you? Why are you even going down? Oh, you just know. You said this about the Palace team. Oh, yeah, they haven't won a game, but you just know that, and they came to us and didn't score a goal. Leicester, you just know the Steve Cooper thing. No, 3-1, smashed them, hit the post a couple of times. They should be embarrassed. I don't know anything. I know West Ham have been really, really poor the last few games. I know that. I know they haven't found their form. I know Lopetegui was in trouble before that Man United game. I know that. I know that we've lost one game this season, and it was the one time we changed our formation before Fulham. I know that. I know every time Nuno has gone out in his sword, we've gone out in our sword and ended up winning games. I know that.
God, can you imagine if we'd signed Lopetegui? Can you imagine if we'd gotten Lopetegui?
Well, I don't care about Lopetegui. Why would we want Lopetegui?
We wouldn't. It was just people were wanting him back when he decided to go to West Ham.
Yeah, people were wanting Glasner, and he had a great run, and then he switched off, and now he's had a bad run, and he's kind of back because he beat Spurs. Who cares? We have Nuno.
I'm saying it's just delightful how things pan out, isn't it? I mean, it's the two ex-Wolves managers going head-to-head this weekend.
Yeah, to be fair, that's a good shout, actually. I didn't think of it that way. Yeah, no, it is the two ex-Wolves managers going head-to-head, but I think what you have to look at is the form of the players, and West Ham players haven't been playing well. They haven't done well at all. They're scraping their wins. And yeah, Bowen's dangerous. He can score goals. He can create stuff at any point in time. And they have a couple of really good players, and they've spent quite a bit of money. But we're playing better than them right now. And right now we are better than them. And I think we can beat them. We beat them in 2 seasons when we weren't better than them. We beat them in the first season, nearly got relegated. Second season, nearly got relegated. Beat them both times 2-0. They didn't score a goal. Calvin Phillips got sent off last season. We could do the same again in a season where we're better than them. So I'm full of confidence. You shouldn't be worried about the narrative or the fictional storylines you create in your head. You need to focus on our Forest better than West Ham in this moment in time.
Yes. Stories. I'm just coming on to do Forest all over the place podcast.
Don't annoy me with that title. It's Forest all over the place when it's me and you, because you're all over the place and you're rarely here. But it's Forest all over the world when it's everyone else on the same page, and you're never on the same page as us. Right, we should get back to football. Oh, I just think people have switched off. I just think they've switched off.
You say that every week, and then loads of people write going, thanks for the episode.
Yeah, true. Do you have any questions?
I don't. I was going to say it's time to wrap it up. It's been a nice half hour or so, and we should say, what's the score prediction going to be? Because we'll be back after the West Ham game doing another episode, and I just don't think there's a huge amount to talk about, is there?
Well, there actually is a lot to talk about. Stuff that I wanted you to talk about. How did you feel about the Leicester win on Friday? Like, in general, you didn't really talk about that. I just want to know they were considered your rivals, right? I don't really consider them massive rivals.
They are rivals. It's a new trope. We can go into this if you want.
No, we went into it last. We went into it last week with.
No, I can be more concise though, without a third party here.
Go on. Be concise.
Enough people have spoken about this that it creates a narrative that the crowd is following. And Forest rivalry is the same as Forest and Derby's rivalry.
It's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Yes, I know it's not. I'm making that statement to start what I'm about to say is.
Okay, sorry.
I know they're not the same. However, until that 4-1 FA Cup game,
you said this last week.
When there'd been a massive gap. What?
Same stuff. No, you said it last week. You said this last
week. If you don't want to hear the argument to it, let's not talk about it. You just went, I want to hear your thoughts on Leicester, who you say aren't our rivals. And then I try going into it with something interesting to say about it, and you don't want to hear it.
No, I just don't want to hear the same thoughts that I already heard last week.
They're not the same thoughts. I'm reinforcing because I've listened to a lot of stuff and more people are saying it. Leicester and Forest are rivals. They just are.
Okay, fine. I don't want to hear that. Fine. They're rivals. How did you feel about beating, absolutely smashing, and the fans singing our rival's manager's name, who used to be our manager, ironically, to take the mick out of them? How did you feel about that?
Well, good.
Great. Thanks for the
input. I believe that's what you've got. That's what you find interesting to ask this late in the week.
Well, I wanted to know.
Ask me a question, I'll answer it. Go on, I'll be less facetious. Go on, ask me a specific question. Don't just go, what are my thoughts on the game?
Okay, I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and I want you to summarize them in small paragraphs, each one. All right? First question, small paragraphs. Don't go on and on and on. You like to go on and on and on, even though I do too, right? First question. Winning 3-1 against Leicester in the King Power Stadium, does that begin then the toxicity of the Leicester fans disliking Steve Cooper again after a 2-win bounce?
I don't think it starts the toxicity. Overall, there's already a bit of toxicity. If anything, I think it's put some closure on the Forest-Cooper relationship, which might change the dynamic between him and the Leicester fans.
Okay, good. That's it. Your summary's done. Next question. Good answer, by the way. Very good answer. Well-rounded. Next question. Do you think this is a massive corner turn for Nottingham Forest without Morgan Gibbs-White, Ward-Prowse, who was starting at the time, a couple more injuries in that midfield, and Dominguez slotting in really well the last 2 games, and Anderson also slotting in really well? Do you think it's a massive corner for Forest in showing our teeth in depth?
I think it's like a growth in confidence. I think the corner's been being turned really slower than it feels as a fan. But yeah, corner's been turned before this week, before Palace and Leicester. But what those games is to specifically go back to what you said about Gibbs-White being out and some of our other big players. It's more like a group confidence in the fan base, if anything. Can't really speak for the pros in the game, but yeah.
Brilliant.
We could be less panicky. Yeah.
Final question.
Thank goodness.
Shut up. West Ham this weekend would probably mark, if we won this game, I think our first 3-game win streak in the Premier League. I might be wrong. I know we've won back-to-back.
Or just since we came back. Definitely.
Obviously not ever. Obviously not ever. We've probably done, well, maybe we haven't, but we probably, in the season we finished 3rd, we probably won 3 games in a row. I don't know. But it marks our first.
Definitely the first time since we got promoted. Definitely.
Okay. So does that give you any sort of because you were clinging on to stories about Bowen and Antonio and West Ham, even though they've been playing really poorly. Does that give you any sort of hope that the City ground is going to be just elevated now to get us over this line, beat West Ham? We're still in the top 6, 7.
So I think Forest are going to go on a bit of a run until they face Arsenal, I think it is. I think we'll go on a bit of a run until then, is my feeling.
Yeah, go on.
Isn't the 2 in a row we've just done the first time we've won 2 in a row?
No,
since we've been
No, I don't think so. We beat
Tell
Man United
me when we last did it.
Newcastle and Man United last season. Bang.
Were they consecutive games, though?
Yes, they were consecutive games. One was on Stephen's Day, or Boxing Day, as you like to call it, and the other one was on the Saturday, which we went to against Man United. It was called the Glory Week for a reason, because
I remember it, because I went to see the rugby in Leicester the following day, and it was like being in the bath with bubble bath in and no one else in the room by comparison to the atmosphere after Gibbs-White got that goal.
Right, I don't know what that comparison
Not with my dad, though. Not in the bath with my dad. Just
yeah. It's like David Brent. Right. So other than the bubble bath and not the bath with your dad, what's Well, I suppose that's it. Do you have any questions for me or not really? I just had those 3 questions because I wanted to kind of get you out of that headspace of this story and narrative and the negative space when we're in a really positive, great place right now. You know, someone who will remain anonymous.
The only narratives going on, mate, are coming out of your projected thoughts. We're having a great chat. Forest are doing great. Let's leave it at that. Give me a score prediction.
Well, score prediction: we're going to beat West Ham this weekend, and we will beat them 3-1 again. We'll score 3 goals. Chris Wood will be on the score sheet.
3-1.
Hudson-Odoi, Chris Wood, and you know what? Yates is going to score again. You're welcome.
Wow, Hudson-Odoi, Chris Wood, and Yates.
You believe it because I'm so good at the predictions. You believe it. You've started to believe it.
Wow.
You
have to say Wood gets a goal. I don't know. I need Hudson-Odoi to get a goal. He's in my FPL, and he's really not. I mean,
you haven't. Wood's in my FPL, but really quickly, you haven't given the score prediction. Give the actual prediction of the score, and then go back, wind it back, and go into your. You know what I mean? Like I said, 3-1. These.
I think we hold off, and it's 2-0 to Forest. I think it's 2-0.
So you're starting to believe again. Okay. And who scores the goal?
I think we lock them out. I think we have another great game, and I think Wood scores, and I think the second goal is scored. I don't know who it will be, but I want it to be like a Moreno or an Aina or a Dominguez or a Anderson.
Anderson
or Alanga.
Go with Anderson.
No, screw it. I'm going Wood and Alanga, and Alanga gets the first one.
You're obsessed with Alanga. He's been a bit of a drop off, but I still like him there. His pace is he's so dangerous.
He'll knee slide with his shirt off and get a yellow card, and everyone will go, "Oh my god, look at his 6-pack. That's insane."
Yeah. Well, do you know what I'd love? Well, I don't want him to get a yellow card, right? Because the silly yellow card.
A body like Alanga.
I don't have one like Alanga. But I actually.
Would you like one?
Of course. I actually.
I love that. Sorry. Great.
I was going to get into some sort of analytical, sort of strategy, tactical stuff, and ask questions about what you thought. But then I just thought, no, I'll leave that alone. And before we sound out,
you've left it a bit late.
I have left it a bit late. I know, I have. I'm just having a conversation with you. Like it's just, but I have left it a bit late.
That's more important than you talking about tactics and strategy. I mean, how boring do you want this episode to be?
Do you know what I want? Do you know what I want to do? I want you to stop eating. I want you to stop ordering pizzas. I want you to stop eating
Let's talk about your tactics and strategy, and I want you to listen to yourself as you're talking about it. Go on. And if you find it boring, you can call it at the end of the episode.
No, you don't need to do that.
No,
you don't need to be
smug. Understand.
It's not. Do you know what? I'm not gonna talk. I'm gonna save it for a chat with someone else. I'm not gonna talk because it was something that came over me today, and I thought I'd really like to chat to someone about this. And actually, I didn't think I'd really like to chat to you about it because you don't know what you're talking about. Every time we come on the mic, it's the same old Matt. Complaining, negative, thinking we're going to lose to the next team we play, and then all of a sudden coming out the other side of the tunnel going, actually, like Shawshank Redemption in the rain, we're going to win. Just grow up. Pick something from the beginning of the episode, 30 minutes before, and stick with it. There is no tactics. There's Forest playing well, there's 7th, and there's you living your life and being happy. Get some positivity into your life.
You've certainly got no strategy or tactics, that's for sure.
I do have some. They're in my sleeve, and I'll pull them out when I'm good and ready. Do you want to do the starting lineup? I'd love to do that. I know you're going to wind out the music on this, but do you want to give the starting lineup, or do you want to leave that alone? It is a bit late.
It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same as it kind of was.
Unchanged the last 2 games. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, that makes sense. Yates, Dominguez,
I've got a feeling Gibbs might make some weird surprise return, actually. But
on the bench,
I hope he doesn't. I hope it's Dominguez, Anderson, and Yates.
Do you hope?
Ward-Prowse is cup tied, right?
Cup tied, no, but he's tied from playing with West Ham. Yeah, I know.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
he can't play against his parent club. So yeah, I think it's going to be Dominguez, it's going to be Yates, and it's going to be who's the other one?
Anderson.
Yeah. Anderson, Dominguez, Yates, Hudson-Odoi, Alanga, and Wood, and you guys at the back. You know.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think you're right. It's going to be the same back 4. In fact, it's going to be the same.
It's kind of Nuno has ruined what Forest Fantasy 5s could have been.
No one cares about Forest Fantasy 5s, least of all me.
Apart from the people that play, and actually, I've had a request from
Go ahead.
some other people, let's say, about it.
That want to play the game. Well, it's too late because the leagues are moved on. You've made three or four
places.
leagues.
Neil and Archie haven't submitted, so if anyone, I need to get back to those
wants
people
to
and
take on their team. Is that what you're telling me?
Take on their team and see if they can make back the points by taking some risks. We need to adapt the rules. We're going to adapt the rules. What?
If Neil and Archie want to submit their Fantasy Fives team, they can. No, I don't want to talk about Forest Fantasy Fives. I've never wanted to talk about it in this. Just like you don't want to talk about strategy and tactics on a football podcast about a football team that happens to be your favorite. I'm really sorry you haven't understood strategy and tactics, and neither have I really, but a lot more than you have over the course of the last 20 odd years that I've known you watching Forest play. Each time I watch them, you look at the corner and go, why did he not kick it the other way? And I'm like, because you don't always have to pass the ball forward. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I do wonder about you. And you want to talk about this Forest Fantasy Fives football game that you've created spreadsheets for and done more work on than you've ever done on this podcast. Okay. Okay.
It's a good game. People are going to get involved and people are going to have fun doing it with us. We'll get prizes. It's going to grow. It's funny. We just need to tweak some of the rules because it's getting a little bit samey, but we're on it. We're on it.
Hit the music.
And players.
Hit the music.
Yeah. One thing I want to say this week, what I did for my time is I sat and listened. I still enjoy listening to that Luton podcast, and I've been watching things like the Yeovil highlights and the Blackpool highlights and the Stoke highlights. Watching them on, just going, yeah.
I love knowing that all the. I think this is the first time for me that all the teams that I really dislike are below us in the table or in a different league. I might be wrong. Is there anyone above us that I'm missing? City are annoying me a little bit now, but like, do I
Brighton?
Hate them? No,
Brighton.
I don't hate Brighton. I just think their stadium's a bit of a library.
Just Brighton. I don't like the love in on Brighton.
Are they above us?
Don't like the shirt. Don't like the ground.
Are they even above
City.
us? Are they even above us in the table?
Yeah, they're joint. We're joint with them, but they got better goals. They scored more goals for.
Yeah, whatever. Technically, we're above them. We're in the top 6. That's how we'll roll this out. Can we? Will we? Won't we? Well, we will.
Liverpool, mate. Liverpool. Come on.
Liverpool. I don't hate Liverpool.
Oh. This is a Forest fan, everyone, as we roll out. Chris, who is the biggest Forest fan I thought I knew, but he likes Liverpool, he likes Leicester, he likes Leeds.
I never said I like Leicester, and I don't necessarily like Liverpool. I just don't care. And Leeds, I'm okay with. Yeah, I've mates who are Leeds fans. It's different being an Irish football fan. What?
Liverpool would happily get relegated if we went down with Liverpool.
That's crazy. That is crazy and stupid. And on that, ladies and gentlemen, follow us at forestallover on Instagram or at NFFC all over on Twitter. Like and subscribe this video and rate us on the audio platforms if you've got this far. You probably haven't. No one ever really does. Just to prove that no one does, I'll give a shout out to someone and see if they get back to us. Big shout out to my cousin James. James, message me if you get this far, and if you haven't, no one else has. Matt, do you want to say goodbye?
See you later, James.
He's not even listening.
And everyone else. Bye-bye.